This just in. Switch to Outsurance and save on your car insurance or ask for up to 1,500 Rand. News Leader, proudly brought to you by Outsurance.
Following the 2026 budget speech, government has committed more than 1 trillion rand to infrastructure over the medium term. Major allocations will go to transport and logistics, energy, water, housing and digital infrastructure, signaling that infrastructure development will anchor South Africa's growth strategy after years of underinvestment. Zeph Nhleko, chief economist at the Development Bank of Southern Africa, joins us to unpack how the budget aligns with DBSA's mandate and what this means for economic growth. Zeph, thank you so much for your time today. Perhaps let's start there with your reflections of that budget we got out on Wednesday. As I mentioned there, it's being viewed as a pro-growth budget. Do you share those sentiments?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Yes, I do. This budget has been largely positive, and it has continued where the medium-term budget policy statement ended in terms of driving growth and specifically driving this infrastructure-led approach for the government. But if you look at the positive stuff that came out of the budget, for example, there was some nice encouragement for savings, where the savings threshold were increased. There was some nice support to SMMEs. And there were some infrastructure reforms that were confirmed, which is what perhaps you are alluding to, where the updates in the regulatory process of the PPPs has been changed, where some financial institutions that are supposed to drive the infrastructure financing for the government, for example, combining some entities from the GTEC and our own infrastructure fund that we were incubating here,
yes,
to make up the FISA process. So those types of reforms are on the positive side of the budget. Yeah.
So key reforms are out of that budget, and let's talk about that in greater detail and whether you think it will unlock meaningful private sector participation in scale, and maybe talk to me about blended finance and how that's working effectively within the current environment.
No, it will. The reforms will begin to put us on a pathway that is pushing the current average growth of 1% quite higher. And the one matter that is going to get us started is the project preparation issue that has been raised, because most of these projects, they succeed or fail based on how well they have been prepared. And therefore, we understand that infrastructure development is a long-term game, but you need to start now and prepare those projects so that they are bankable. In other words, other people can invest in them. So that's an important aspect of the infrastructure development plan.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question, right? We are seeing strong allocation before, right? We've seen it before, but very weak delivery, Zeph. What must change to ensure that this time around we get strong execution? And where does the Development Bank of Southern Africa fit in it all?
Yeah, you're quite right. We have not been properly organized particularly at province and especially at municipal level.
Yeah.
Where these infrastructure needs to be developed. We found that budget allocations were given to these municipalities, but remain unspent and therefore given back to Treasury. So one of the important reforms is how municipal infrastructure grant is going to be spent going forward. There's a proposal that the capable districts should take over that execution, or capable state-owned entities, such as ourselves, the DBSA, should then step in and assist, because you have to develop the infrastructure. You can't penalize the citizens just because a municipality is unable to develop. So I think that is a very important step change so that we get going with the infrastructure development, while perhaps the other governance issues at that level, at municipal level, is being sorted out. So we play quite a significant role there as the DBSA. In fact, we have developed a program called the Partner A District program, where we go into these municipalities and we diagnose the infrastructure and capacity gaps, and we identify the solutions that need to be put in place. And then we engage partners, we collaborate with other people, and we begin to put this infrastructure on the ground. So I think that's an important step change.
And quickly before I let you go, Treasury projecting growth of about 1.6% this year, 2%, or rather gradually rising to 2%. How quickly can infrastructure investment lift growth, and when do you see the real impact in terms of growth coming through?
Yeah, as I said, infrastructure is a long-term game, but the work must begin now.
Yes.
So if you look at the level at which we are investing right now, we are classified as an upper middle income country. We are investing 14-15% to GDP, and that's low.
Yep.
Our peers are doing 30-35% of GDP. So you can imagine we are currently in total investing 1.1 trillion in the country. We need to be closer to 2 trillion. In other words, 1.7, 1.8 trillion every year. So these reforms are beginning to put that trajectory correctly. And so we start now with the project preparations. We start now with putting projects on the table, and we finance these projects and we move that direction.
All right, Mr. Nhleko, thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights with us today. That was Zeph Nhleko, Chief Economist at DBSA.
Breaking news. With Outsurance, you always get something out. News Leader, proudly brought to you by Outsurance.